Coach Akers on the 1985 Texas football team, and we'll also hear from the players. That's next.
We've got some experience at some positions. We've got some inexperience. Guys that are anxious, really anxious to get out there and prove that they're worthwhile and capable of playing with anyone in the country. Hopefully our offense, especially in the offensive line and among our receivers, their added experience will give some of our defensive players that are anxious to prove themselves a little while to get their feet on the ground.
Coach, you never know who's watching, so we don't want to give away any trade secrets, but it's no secret that you worked on the run-and-shoot offense in the spring. Will we see it in the fall?
Yes, we worked with the run-and-shoot, and we liked it. We think it suits our personnel, and it gives us a way to kind of build in against the possibility of injuries to key personnel. I think it'll make us a more difficult team to defend. How much of it we'll use, I'm not predicting, but we're confident that we can execute it, and we will.
You have to have receivers, obviously, to run that because you have 4 receivers at one time. How do you feel about your receivers?
I think our receivers are better than we've had here in some time. Not only do we have some experience in guys like Russell Hayes and Billboard Bryant, but we have some speed. We've moved Kevin Nelson there from running back, and Everett Gay has come on, looks great. Monty Daly has speed. We've got a little more to add to our receiving corps than just William Harris. And of course, William is having a great practice period, and we're expecting a great deal out of him.
I guess the offensive line is one area last year where you had kids with talent who were spending an awful lot of time on the bench because of injuries. Now, most of them are healthy, aren't they?
Yes, and one of our strengths this year is our offensive line. That's a great strength to have. The experience gained by players who were planning on being backup players a year ago was tremendous for our football team. Our confidence level among our offensive linemen is an all-time high, and we're expecting great things from them.
Now, when fall practice started, you had 9 quarterbacks out there. Obviously, you can't train that many, but it also means you've got some depth there.
We do have. I'm pleased with the incoming freshman class. Those guys are good quality football players, and they're going to learn and learn and learn and learn without getting the playing experience this first year. But Dodge and Kelly, Stafford, and Akers represent quite a bit of experience. They now know what it's like. But those young ones are really, really a handful in pushing them.
Well, that's always fun to see. Running back, you welcome back Ronnie Robinson at fullback, and it's a Ronnie Robinson that looks like he's a little bit lighter this year, maybe a little bit quicker.
Well, the thing about Ronnie is he's healthy. Ronnie looks like he did year before last when he was 100%, and a year ago he had a terrible, terrible time of it with his foot that required surgery during the season. Now, he just never got in shape. But Ronnie's back, and he's a great competitor, and he looks good. Charles Hunter at tailback is a freshman that we redshirted. He's from Odessa. And Charles is a tough competitor himself. Anthony Barley is looking better than any time since he's been here. And Norman Nunn has that quickness that we recruited him for. He's healthy. We've got a couple of young ones off that freshman team that are going to figure into it. And I'd say our running back position is in the best shape we've had in some time.
Well, when we talk about defense, let's start with the defensive line. You've got 4 defensive ends. That gives you a lot of depth. But the defensive tackle, you've really got a lot of new faces there, don't you?
Our defensive ends do represent our strength defensively, with 5 football players, starting with James McKinney and Blake Bronner. We have 5 players there that are experienced. They're good. Kip Cooper and Thomas Aldridge got great experience a year ago. Al Pavelic is back. Our defensive tackles are new. They're the ones I was talking about. The ones that are anxious to prove that they can play with anyone. The problem is no one's heard of them, but they're young and eager. And I really feel that they're going to come on and prove to people that we are not without defensive tackles.
Ty Allard heads up a linebacking crew. Ty has all-American potential. As a group, they look like they might be a little bit smaller than Texas has had in the recent past, but quicker.
That's a good description, Steve, on both parts. Ty Allard, certainly, is deserving of All-America mention, and he's among the top ones in the country, and we're counting on him for a lot of leadership among some young players. The rest of our linebackers are basically inexperienced, and they are a little smaller, but as you said, we're faster and quicker.
Texas has a great reputation for defensive backfields, playing man-to-man, which most colleges do not. You have 3 returning starters, kids whose names will be known, and you must feel comfortable with them back there.
Now, our defensive secondary is a lot like our offensive line. We played a lot of young guys a year ago. They went through the mistake-making period, and it was awfully painful for them. Gave up a lot of big plays, but they learned from it. And out of all of that has come some confidence. They know what they're doing. We don't have a superstar like Jerry Gray or a Mossy Keys with all the preseason hype. But we do have more of them that know what they're doing, and I really feel we're farther along right now than we were last year with our secondary. Of course, it's great to have Richard Peavy back in there, too. He adds some experience.
The kicking game has to be a strength for this team. Jeff Ward and John Telchik, I don't think you can say anything except they're the best 1-2 combination in the country.
Well, I think they represent our biggest strength, our most complete strength. Could well be our kicking game. With Telchik as a punter and Jeff Ward as a kicker, and Terry Steelhammer snapping the ball, and with some more speed in our return game, we should be among the top ones in the country in that department.
That's the comments of Coach Akers on the 1985 football team. What about the players? What do they have to say? We'll hear from Drew Spryer and those players when we come back after this message.
Follow the leader, Woods Honda.
Next year, but I don't think it's going to be like that this year. I think that, people just better watch out.
Do you feel like this team has something to prove to people this year anyway?
I think so. At the end of last year left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and we sure don't want to end up like that again. And we do. We've got some things to prove to people that we're not that kind of football team.
No, we're just trying not to look at those things. When we get ranked up there at the top of the national polls and the conference polls, we try not to, to pay too much attention to that either, because we still got to go about our business every day, and we know what we can do, and that's really all that counts.
I think we lost a lot of that last year at the end of the season, and we've worked through the spring and the early this fall to regain some of that respect within the team, and we've done a good job, and the players are ready.
I don't know if you were to talk with the guys around here, that's not what we're thinking. We've got some things to prove to not just the people here in Austin, but all over the nation.
Well, everyone has an opinion, so we're just going to have to go out every week and prove them wrong.
In terms of your physical being right now, where are you compared to where you have been in the past? They say you pretty much right now are as in good a shape as you've been.
I feel pretty good, but the only negative thing I can just put on myself is that my ball handling is not up to par. My timing is off with the quarterbacks, but that'll come along with work, and that's the only problem I've got.
What do you expect out of Edwin in this season?
The only thing I expect out of Edwin is for him to do the best he can do to help the team. That's basically it.
You want to be there at the beginning and at the end and be able to go the distance?
Yeah. I'm planning on being there for Missouri and hopefully the Cotton Bowl.
What about the no respect this team has gotten this year in terms of rankings and where they're supposed to finish in the conference and that kind of thing? How is the team reacting to that?
We're just going out and working. That's just like an incentive, because we feel like we got something to prove to ourselves and to other people. And, we're going to, year in, year out, we're in there with the thick of everything, and we're going to be there again this year.
I guess it's suffice to say that Edwin Simmons is back.
Yeah. He's black.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You and Telchik have come a long way, and I know you're both looking forward to even a better year this year if that could happen.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll slip you a 5 for that. No, John and I are confident. We've got a couple good years under our belt, and he's a senior, and I like to go out with a big year along with him because I know he's the best there is.
Now, every time you miss one extra point, although you've only missed one, and a field goal, you feel like you haven't done your job. You're like almost a perfectionist. Would that be true to call you one of that?
To say the least. Yeah, at times it's almost hindered me because I'm such a perfectionist. I tend to get down on myself. But in my opinion, there's no other way to look at playing anything, especially a place kicker. It's the kind of job where you're only getting a few shots a game, and you've got to take the most of them. And those points add up.
What do you want to accomplish this year? You want to hit a record number of field goals? Do you want to just be consistent? Do you have certain things in mind?
Well, I've got a list of goals that you wouldn't believe, but first and foremost, to make every extra point. I think those are a lot more important than people give them credit. Secondly, to break the school record in the number of field goals, which is 17. And after that, just achieve my 85% on my percentage-wise, and I'll call it a successful year.
You want to tackle anybody out there ever?
Well, I'd prefer not to, but if it has to be, I'll do it. I'll sacrifice.
Jeff, one magazine, Playboy, has you guys 18th, and in it they say that the Longhorns probably have a better kicking game than some of the pro teams do.
Well, that's a magazine with class, isn't it? That's nice that somebody finally did pick us up there. Those predictions are good for nothing but debates, and they're fun to play with, but they're meaningless once you get out there.
Coach, now's the time to play maybe a little word association game. We'll ask you in 25 words or less. Let's go down the schedule, starting with Missouri in 2 weeks here in Austin.
Well, Missouri has a new coach, and he has experience with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're known for being very, very physically tough, and they always have talented athletes.
And after that, it's out to the West Coast to Stanford.
Now, all the skill positions are going to be represented well in that ball game. Great passing team who a year ago, because of an injury to the quarterback, developed a sound running game and defense. So we don't really know what to expect as their strength.
Rice, Southwest Conference opener.
Rice will be a much improved football team. They've got great speed among their wide receivers. They're wide open. They take a lot of risks and chances, and they're a dangerous football team.
Then it's a team, Oklahoma, isn't it?
Oklahoma, a traditional battle, a traditional war, one that we look forward to. It's always very, very physical, very, very close, and we're anxious to get in there and get it on with them every year.
Up to the Ozarks to play Arkansas.
A tough conference ball game. They're among the top 20 football teams in the country, and we know what to expect from them from the last 25 years of head-on competition with them.
Still on the road, SMU.
That game has become one of the real tough and usually a great defensive ball game. One of the toughest in the country, and it's been highlighted as that for the last 4 or 5 years. They have a tremendous amount of talent. They're out of the conference picture because of probation, but it'll be a real grudge battle.
Finally home, Texas Tech.
Our first home game in a while, going down that list. Texas Tech will be improved. They had one of the top defensive teams in the country. They expect to have more production at quarterback, so it'll be a big conference game at that point in our season.
Back on the road, Houston.
Houston always plays tough. They're always skilled. They were the conference champion of a year ago. Until someone uproots them, we have to treat them that way.
Then it's back home, and it will be TCU.
TCU has really come around in the last couple of years, and they're a dangerous football team with probably as much speed as anyone in the entire country.
Baylor at home.
Baylor has become one of the top games in this part of the country, our game with them, and we don't expect any let-up from them at all.
Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving night, Texas A&M.
One of the truly traditional games in the country. Texas A&M, too, is among the top 20 in the country. They're very talented, and it's going to require our best ball game.
There's always a 12th game for the University of Texas. That's a bowl game, and you expect it to be in Dallas, don't you?
We certainly plan to be there. You know, people don't give us much credit for being able to get there at this time of the year, but, you know, back somewhere deep in our minds, we always have that picture.
That's a look at the 1985 Texas Longhorns. They open up the season in 2 weeks against Missouri. So for Coach Fred Akers, this is Steve Ross saying see you in Memorial Stadium September 21st.
reminder, the Longhorns will scrimmage tonight, Memorial Stadium at 7 o'clock. Be there. And see the Fred Akers Coaches Show on KTVV Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. beginning September the 15th. The Fred Akers Coaches Show will also be repeated on Sundays following NFL single games on 36. Stay tuned now for NBC Major League Baseball. Next on 36, the Mets and the Dodgers.
Do it right. Do it legal. We're not cheap shot people. You do it the way it's supposed to be done. They write books about it. They teach by watching.